Hello, this is a Brave Knight Mercenary spotlight on Baine. Baine is a 5-star rarity defender and is one of the main villains in the Batman series. He's the primary antagonist of the critically acclaimed film, The Dark Knight Rises. Wait a minute, wrong Baine. The story of Brave Knight's Baine is that he's an Imperial soldier who's about to die due to a serious illness. He was granted an opportunity to live if he gave his body to a suspicious entity. He basically now sleeps, lets his alter ego take over, then feels guilty afterwards. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, essentially. Anyways, Baine is a defender with a lot of conditional defensive mechanics. He can grow to be insanely tanky if certain conditions are met. Baine also can deal a lot of damage to units with a stigma. I'll briefly go over his skills, gameplay style, and provide some of my opinions on Baine. I won't be going over the details of his skills, but just the general parts of it. I linked the Brave Knight Encyclopedia in the video description where you can easily read on the stats and skill values. Baine's first skill is Demon Contract. This skill is active for a set duration, starting from the beginning of battle, ranging from 35 to 65 turns. When Baine attacks, he gets Demon Skin for a set amount of turns. Demon Skin activates regardless if he has buff Prohibition or not. While Demon Skin is active, all damage that Baine receives will become distortion damage. If you want a quick explanation on what distortion damage does, please watch my Eleanor Mercenary Spotlight. Yes, I am shamelessly shilling my other videos, sorry. Baine's distortion damage has him receive fixed damage for 2 turns, ranging from 30 to 15% damage per turn. Depending on skill level, this means that Baine effectively only takes 60 to 30% of the actual damage he is supposed to take. Lastly, Baine receives debuff immunity for the duration that Demon Skin is active. Baine's second skill is Damage Contract. This is Baine's signature Stigma skill. Baine's attack applies Damage Contract Stigma to his enemies without debuff immunity. The Stigma alone doesn't do anything, but activates whenever Baine is hit by a normal attack. When Baine is hit by a normal attack, any unit that has Damage Contract Stigma will take up to 150% of Baine's life as fixed damage. This allows Baine to effectively kill units that are not debuff immune. Furthermore, the Stigma is not removable, meaning Raphithia cannot cleanse it. At +9, when a unit that carries Baine's Stigma dies, he will gain a healing buff which also boosts his defense for a set amount of turns. Baine can effectively reach 100% defense with this healing buff. Baine's third skill is Masochism. Baine heals a portion of his max life before getting hit by a normal attack. At +6 and above, Baine gets permanent incoming damage reduction. Baine's awakening skill is Taunt. Baine gets an 18-turn taunt after his normal attack. Baine's gameplay has him serve as 2 distinct roles. His first role is to act as a reliable taunt tank. Baine can reach insane levels of tankiness if the conditions are met. He is a taunt tank with debuff immunity, with 100% defense, max damage reduction, high max HP, distortion damage that mitigates any fixed damage he receives, healing over time, and healing whenever he is hit. All of this while having taunt. It sounds ridiculous, and it can be, but Baine has to reach that state first. Baine's second role is to sweep a lane and clear any unit that does not have debuff immunity. Baine's Stigma is very powerful, and since he gains taunt after attacking, Baine generally cashes out on his Stigma very quickly. He can clear many units due to his impressive 4-hit attack tile. I'll go over what Baine counters. Baine's Stigma counters any unit that does not have debuff immunity as it deals fixed damage and scales with its very high max health. The only non-debuff immune units that can potentially survive him are units with death guards or resurrections, such as Yuri, Frisia, and Lucius. Characters that resurrect can cleanse Baine's Stigma after the resurrection. HP tanks can potentially hold off Baine, but it's usually not for long. Valtor is likely to die to +15 Baine with 1 activation of the Stigma, but if Valtor can extend his max health, he can survive. Manchina and Callie can survive more than 1 tick of Baine's Stigma, but unless they can out-heal the rate at which Baine is being hit, they are likely to succumb to the Stigma, unless Baine manages to die early on. Because Baine's Stigma also deals fixed damage, 100% defense units without debuff immunity are in danger. Eden and Orfina could be in trouble. Baine's natural tankiness also makes him very difficult to deal with. If Baine gets ramped up, very few things can actually kill him, making him a solid tank to deal with all damage sources other than direct damage. Baine can easily tank Seto, and because all the additional damage that Baine takes is converted into distortion damage, Seto can't heal if he kills Baine. Also, one thing to note about Baine is his attack stat. Baine's attack stat is incredibly low, making him one of the only units that will not kill Helga unless he is buffed. Baine's opening can actually avoid triggering Helga, even if he actually hits her. I'll go over some Baine counters now. The easiest way to deal with Baine is through direct damage sources like Alec and Levia. Levia can one-shot Baine no matter what, whereas Alec needs to make sure he can reach enough damage to kill or nearly kill Baine with his direct damage. If Alec is unable to one-shot Baine with direct damage, Alec still deals a lot of damage and distortion damage, which can tip Baine over the edge. Killing Baine while his demon skin is active is not an easy feat, but it's doable since Baine takes a decent chunk of damage per turn from his distortion damage. Barraging him with powerful attacks from the likes of Angelica, Eden, or buffed warriors like Yuri and Ludmilla can kill him even with the mitigations of his distortion damage. If Baine has taunt, Ventana can always guarantee kill him as she does far too much damage for him to properly fend off. The last and easiest way to deal with Baine is not so much about using the character specifically, but just a general strategy. Baine is tough, but he has to ramp up first. Baine's demon contract only activates after he attacks, meaning that he's very vulnerable prior to attacking. You can easily destroy him with a buffed warrior of any sort before he attacks. Furthermore, if he doesn't kill anything with a stigma, he also will not be at 100% defense, which makes killing him a lot easier. If you feel the need to hold Baine off, you can simply put a debuff immune target in front of him, or taunt him into Grand Hilder or your own Baine with debuff immunity. If Baine cannot apply his stigma, his attack is ineffective. So some synergies with Baine. Baine is fairly standalone. It can be used as an isolated taunt tank and as a counter to horizontal line formations. Baine is prone to getting stuck on debuff immune targets, so having some attackers in this lane that can clear the way is valuable. Eden is generally good at clearing out the units that Baine cannot. Ventana can clear out the Grand Hilder or enemy Baine that your Baine can get stuck on. For a silly idea, you can use Floria to increase Baine's max life. Not only does this add to Baine's durability, but he will also do more damage as a result. It can be good, but it's not solid enough to be a core strategy. Baine has a set synergy with Corinne and Elenir that grants attack, which Baine does not benefit from. Okay, so from my opinion, Baine is overloaded with conditional defensive mechanics that make it kinda difficult to consistently gauge how good of a tank he is. The general TLDR from what I've seen is that he's very tanky if he has demon skin, so it's important that he's tucked away safely in your formation unless you plan to initiate with him. Baine's ability to pressure and kill off non-debuff immune units within the 4-tile reach is very underrated. At plus 15 he can one-shot Valtor, and his 4th tile usually snags the warrior. His tankiness allows him to both chip away at Seto and stall him. Baine does get immensely weaker once his demon contract expires, but usually when that happens the battle outcome is already determined. Baine's ability to avoid triggering Helga due to his very low attack stat also makes him a very nice unit for Underground Arena, which is right now infested with Helgas. He can be a solid initiator if you're going first. Baine is very useful in all content, but he may not be a priority pick in PvP if you already have a taunt tank. He's definitely very nice to have, but if you already have Grand Hilda or Glacia, you can divert your resources to other units. When it comes to investing in Baine, he is generally PvP ready at plus 9 or above. Plus 3 is where he gains additional tactile, but he's still missing a lot of traits that make him considerably tanky. He is at plus 9 where he has nearly max incoming damage reduction on his masochism skill, and his defense bonus when he kills a unit with a stigma. Beyond plus 9 mostly increases his performance by extending Demon's contract duration or dealing more fixed damage on his counter. Baine doesn't need to be plus 15 mostly, but plus 15 Baine allows him to take units that have far more health than him, like Valtor and Benchina. It's nice to have, but it's not a must-have. Overall, Baine's a really cool unit. It helps that his companion Rohrbach is one of the game's coolest male characters. So much swagger with this gentleman. If you need a solid taunt tank to check non-debuff immune units, consider Baine. I think this character has a lot of potential for longevity. That concludes my Baine Mercenary Spotlight. Thanks for watching.